What's up, G? The red light's on.
Episode 3, finally.
Jeez, it's a thing. I'm telling you, episode 3. Oh my goodness, it's gonna be like 300 before you know it. Be like,
that's how I felt like when I was your first interview on yours. I'm like, I felt like you guys called me for episode 100 like the next week. It was like it comes so fast.
It's so funny because I have a picture. It just literally organically came up on my timeline because I have my fucking social media back, by the way. Jeezy. So I got my I know. So I got my socials back. And on our timeline, like it was like 4 years ago. It's a picture of you and I. And dude, I'll send it to you right after this. I'm gonna post it. We look so baby. Like you look so freaking young in this picture. And like I have zero facial hair and like it's just crazy. You know, like it's so funny to look back at yourself 3-4 years ago. You look totally different. It's crazy.
Just the fact that you're saying it was 4 years ago is like mind blowing to me. I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah. It was like Facebook 4 years ago. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is perfect to post. So we'll post it soon. But all right, volume 3, episode 3, a lot of stuff to talk about. Just we'll conversate like always. Huge UFC pay-per-view this weekend, Jacksonville. I was there yesterday at the Memorial Arena. It's going to be insane. I'll be there tomorrow for weigh-ins. I cannot wait. But let's talk about you. That's kind of like, let's go in the life of Gillian. Talk about how you wake up and you just go to the beach now, like on the norm, on the reg.
The life of Gillian right now is different every week.
The background's different too. 3 straight weeks.
Oh no, it'll be different. I'm pretty sure next week, the week after, we're gonna have like different backgrounds for a couple more weeks now. Me and my coach Dean, we had a talk, and he's like, if you believe in yourself, you gotta invest in yourself. So I'm invested in myself a lot, and going just to make training work right now, getting a lot of different Airbnbs and trying to make things work so I can be down in Miami. And I'm going to be in my new apartment by May 1st, but I just got to make it work for these next couple weeks.
There you go. I like it. Even when you get into your apartment in May, like, no, we want a different background every single time. You know, guest bedroom, bathroom, backyard, pool area, like different.
I'm just gonna order like different like picture backgrounds off Amazon, and like I'll be in like the rainforest one week, by a waterfall the next week. It'll be great.
It's so funny you say that because like there's so many like air quote like podcaster guys that like are like on Facebook, and they like it's so obvious they have like that green screen behind them, and they like put this like super fancy house. Like I don't mind the green screen if people are going to do it, but like if they're going to do like a logo or like a sponsor, or like if we're talking about fights, you put like an octagon, but like they put like a super fancy house. I'm like, dude, you're not fooling anyone, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're in your basement of your mom's house. Like we see you right now.
I think you got to go for things like a T-Rex chasing you or something if you're going to do that.
So The Rock did a really cool interview like a couple of weeks ago, and I guess like he had a legit like T-Rex bone or whatever behind him. It's like the most expensive T-Rex in the world. Like he had to like auction it. It's like multi-millions, like $3.4 million is T-Rex behind him. So crazy shit. I know I got like a $10 Lego piece from my son that he built. That's what I got behind me.
I've got these inspirational wall quotes at the Airbnb that we have.
Who the fuck buys those things? Like who? It's like hope, believe in yourself, and one day you'll make it. Like, why would you buy that and put that on the wall?
Like, we're not in the nicest area necessarily in this Airbnb, and some of one of the ones that says collect moments, not things. Like, I feel like that's for anybody coming in here. Like, please don't take anything.
Oh my gosh, that is so good. Godly. Well, all right, we'll get into it. We'll talk about the beach. But yeah, I just put at the bottom here, guys. Mic Cuddles has its own platform, its own, go subscribe to it. It's not under Fight Bananas like the podcast link. It's its own link. Gillian, the Savage, Robertson, Mic Cuddles, go get it. That's that. All right, so you woke up super early and you went to the beach. Like, tell me about it. How amazing was it? I'm a beach guy myself. We live in Daytona Beach, Florida, which is 10 minutes away from Daytona Beach. But it's always really busy. It's really trafficy. In Daytona, you're allowed to drive on the beach, which is dope. It's cool when we drive as a family on it. It's awesome. But when we're chilling on the beach, it's not the best having all these cars go back and forth. So just tell me about your beach day.
Well, I'm generally like an old lady, so I wake up early. And this morning I was up probably around like 5 a.m. I was just laying in bed, and I decided to Google what time the sunrise was, and it was 7:05. And being on the east coast of Florida, we don't have the luxury of the sunset, so we have to make sure we can wake up early, go to the beach. True. So I ended up just taking my dog there, and literally he just laid down, and I used him as a pillow for most of it. Just laid there and watched the sunrise. And there's like so much of me that didn't want to do it, but I feel like doing that just made the rest of my day so much better. It really just like started my day off just, I don't know, it gives you a different type of vibe, I feel like, just for the day to be in nature to start off.
Oh, you're so right. Like, even when you said like you got up early, which is like unparent people waking up at 5 a.m., we hate you. Like, we really like, we just want to jump through and just like choke you, which I can do. I think we grappled once. There's no video of it. I promise to all the people out there, no video. But it's just like when you do it, when you like break through and kind of go for it and actually go to the beach that early and lay and see and all that stuff, it just looked awesome. Like I said, we looked through your socials and it looked insane. It looked so nice. And then to start your day that way, that's it. Like the rest of your day, you can't have a bad day after that. You can't.
I feel like I've always referred to myself as like a violent hippie. Like I just love being out in nature and love being like everything about that. It's just, there's something that just energizes you about that. Honestly, the other day I was having a really bad day because I've been having a lot of issues with my hip, and I went to the doctor and didn't get the news that I wanted to get on it. So I left there in a really bad mood, and I just drove to the beach, and it started storming while I was at the beach. But there's something about that was just absolutely amazing. It was cool to be out there.
Yeah, beach storms are awesome, especially like to see out in the ocean and see whatever's happening and madness and lightning and thunder. It's so sick. If you don't want to talk about it, I totally get it. The hip thing didn't go good. Like it's
just it's not getting better at the moment. So right now the next recommendation is to go to a specialist and see if I do need surgery or not. So it's just that's not the results I necessarily want at the moment. I'm trying to get back to work and I want to get a fight as soon as possible. So
right. And if surgery, I would assume, and hip surgery are usually like serious, like multi-month, like even a half year out of commission kind of a thing. Is that kind of, am I on par on base what usually hip surgery is?
The doctor didn't really want to get it too in depth with it because he wants to send me to a specialist. Right, so he didn't want to give me like two different opinions to work with. So he just pretty much recommended I go to a specialist that thinks that surgery might be the option at this point, because it's been months and months now, and like it's usually, I feel good at the beginning of the week, and at the end of the week it's rough to walk. Like my hip gives out on me constantly. It's the weirdest thing, because it's like during training I feel fine. I can like spar, I can do anything. I've been training hard all week long. This morning I trained for 4 hours straight, and then I couldn't get out of my car whenever I got here because it's like it hurt so bad to walk.
I was gonna say that. So like, you know, like how we started the pod, we've literally been talking for years and years and years now. And like, I remember at the very beginning, like you kind of mentioned this through me, even maybe, I don't even know if it was on the pod or off the pod. And now it's been years, so we can kind of talk about, you're kind of like always saying like your hip has been fucked up, or it's just been bothering you. It's been this kind of this nagging injury. Like, you know, is there a little part of you, it's like, God damn it, if we just go and nip this in the butt and just get this back, hopefully, like, shoot, I'll, you know, and what is it, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, and be 100, be 98% of what you think you could be? Or is it like one of these things like, I hope I don't have to, like, I hope it doesn't get to that. I can deal with it. Like you said, you sparred and you trained today for 4 hours. I was going to get into that again. Like, dude, the goat shed vibes have been amazing through socials, but we'll get into that in a second. But like, is there a little part of you, it's like, okay, I don't know, it might be long-term, long run, like this might be a better thing, or you're like, fuck no, I want to fight. Like, I don't want this.
I guess this might be a little bit stupidity, a little bit more of the fighter in me saying this, but I'm like, so many times I've had issues like this where it's like, I'll have a shoulder injury for months and months, and then eventually it'll just go away. Like, it's like, I don't know, like, just the fight life. I've never really went to the doctor for anything. Like, I've never had to, like, actually have surgery. I've never had, I've had stitches twice in my life, actually.
Santos?
Santos. And then once, when I was born, I was a C-section, and the doctor cut my head.
That explains everything.
Makes so much sense now.
Yeah, like wait, fire that. It all adds up. This is perfect sense. Holy shit.
But yeah, I've never like had anything seriously medical happen through fighting. Anything that has been a nagging injury, even with this hip, it, like I said, it's been a problem for so many months because I was just like, oh, it's just muscle tightness. It'll go away. It'll eventually go away. Like we'll work through it. And then it just kept on getting worse and worse. And it's just, I don't know. It's such a weird thing. Like I said, though, it's like I don't feel it when I'm training. I can move. I can do whatever I want. It's when I cool down and I don't have the adrenaline in my body and I'm trying to walk around after or do anything, or even like it's been getting to the point where sleeping's been rough. And that's the point where it's like, all right, well, you need to take a break, Gillian. We need to take a step back.
That, or maybe you just use whatever's on your shirt and sleeping will be just fine.
Exactly.
Maybe. We'll get into that too. We'll definitely have to get into that. All right. Yeah. The goat shed. Like, dude, it just, I can't explain it. And you know how many different people I talk to and how many different gyms I see and the relationships I have in different gyms. And it looks different there. It just looks different. It sounds different. It feels different. Just like how cool, I know you're kind of getting into it a little bit. Maybe it's been 2 or 3 weeks kind of solid for you. Like how different is it there at the GOAT?
So last week I was there a couple days. This week I've been pretty much full time there. I've worked with Dean twice this week. Other than that, I've been full time at Goat Shed. And honestly, I feel like the vibes there are just, you can't compare it to anything else. They've just been so welcoming to me. And it's also just, I don't fit in at a lot of gyms just by how they teach technique. Just like, I feel like so many people are trying to teach what they learned in the 90s. And this sport's 20 years old. It's like it's constantly evolving, and you got to get ahead of the game if you want to be that world champion. If you want to make moves, if you want to be noticed. So it's like learning things that were taught in the 90s aren't exactly relevant anymore.
Right.
And I feel like Goat Shed is that gym where they are trying to take that step ahead. They're trying to innovate the game. They're not trying to just teach you what their coach taught because this is the one way to do it. Asim is the head coach there, and he's just very open-minded, and the environment's just amazing to be in.
That's so sick. It's imagine like, any sport, like what they are doing in football right now is not what they did in football in the 90s. It's like a totally different game. And like, you can see the top level fighters right now, and like, what are transitioning to UFC 273, like people like Chimaev and Volkanovski and Jan, like how they're moving, and there's no holes in their game. That's one thing I'm super impressed with, because like when I fell in love with MMA/UFC, like Matt Hughes, the wrestler, like it was just the wrestler. And then like there's guys like how Damian Maia was just so great at jits, and he was just like amazing, like, oh my, mind blowing. Chuck Liddell, like the brawler, he's gonna throw over right hand. Like Jan Volkanovski, there's 0 holes. They're like 9.5 out of 10 out of and everything. And it's like, I think that's like to me the biggest evolution in MMA or UFC. It's just like you have to be like so fucking good everywhere.
I feel like that was the first evolution, is trying to be good everywhere, trying to be well-rounded. And now the next one is trying to make it MMA everywhere. Because so many people, it's like getting to a jiu-jitsu position and then like maybe find like, all right, I can throw some strikes here, instead of establishing a position that's good for striking, and now we can really land punches. It's like really need to mix the sports together. You need to mix your wrestling with your striking, and your striking with your jiu-jitsu, and everything together, so then you can be a well-rounded fighter.
Right. And like, so I think I've been to GOAT twice, and I know you just mentioned the head coach. Is it different from like American Top Team or Fusion, where like Fusion has, a ground coach and then a striking coach and then a grappling coach? Is it like that at GOAT, or like, does GOAT have like a striking coach, or is your head coach the head coach of everything?
They have the head coach there, and then there's a couple of the students who are very high-level fighters who they take over coaching positions. So there's some that are like high-level wrestlers. They'll do the wrestling class at night. High-level strikers will do the striking class in the morning. And then Asim is primarily jiu-jitsu, but he is an MMA fighter. Like all of his techniques and all of his systems are all for MMA.
Right, got it. So sick. I can't wait. Gillian Robertson 2025, like when it all comes together, it's gonna be insane. 2023. That's great. So, okay, when you mentioned, all right, so UFC 273, right? Like mentioned, especially BJJ and especially BJJ and MMA. I don't know if you've been watching some of the stuff I've been doing or saying this whole week. Chimaev is this huge favorite. I know everyone loves him. I'm not throwing any shade. Like, I hate when people like, you can like Coca-Cola. That doesn't mean you don't like Pepsi. Like, I just like Coca-Cola more, right? Like, you can like both. I know Chimaev's amazing. I have a feeling, and I'm picking Gilbert Burns in this fight. I think he's so overlooked. I don't think Chimaev has ever rolled any practice with anyone that high level. Like Gilbert Burns, I can argue is the best male BJJ guy on the whole scene, like on the whole UFC weight class, combined. And then, of course, his power. And then he's been there before, been in main events. He's fought Wonder Boy, Usman. He's fought everyone. I love Gilbert Burns in this spot. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm on an island by myself. What do you think about that fight? And then, we'll talk about a couple others. But I love Burns in this spot.
I think it's a really, really tough one to pick, honestly. Like you said, with the Chimaev just not really having the same level of competition that Gilbert Burns has faced. And I feel like that's really the biggest issue. You don't really know how he's going to perform against somebody of that caliber, of that level. But that being said, Chimaev, how he has looked in his past fights and like the things he has pulled off, how effortless he's made it look, is like next level, very impressive. And I think that one's a really interesting one to call because it's like the veteran versus the up and comer. Like, I kind of want to lean towards Gilbert, but a lot of me is just such a huge fan of Chimaev that I feel like I can't.
You said something that really just jumped at me, and it's totally different from what we're talking about, but that's what the show is, right? You said like a fan of Chimaev, like me as someone who's in like an outsider who is a fan who's like doing it on the media side, but you as a fighter who's fighting in the UFC and has been on 10 UFC cards and multiple pay-per-views and train every day and stuff. Do you still like you yourself, or do you know other fighters that are like still legitimate like fans of other fighters in the UFC? Does that make sense? Are you guys like still like, oh dude, like I love what Chimaev doing. Like I'm a fan of what he's doing.
I think it depends on the fighter because I know a lot of fighters who don't even watch the UFC. They don't pay attention to it all. They don't care about it. But me, I'm a huge fan of the sport. Like I love watching it. I love learning about fighting, and I love studying. Like even just watching any UFC card. So I definitely become huge fans of fighters, and like I feel like there's still some points where you get that like little fangirl moment where you see some fighters like, oh shit, that's him. Like, oh, that's her. Like I definitely. And especially like being a fighter, having my own style. If I see a fighter where they're pulling stuff off that I would like to do, or I like that style, then it's like I definitely become a fan of them.
That's dope. That's cool. That's cool. That's like an inside thing that only you know what I mean. That's so cool about it. Is there another? So UFC 273 with Jan and Sterling, the rematch, Volkanovski and Korean Zombie, a really cool, unique matchup. It's supposed to be Max Holloway. We'll get into Mackenzie Dern and Tisha in a second. And also, there's another fight announcement last week that I definitely want to mention. It's right up your alley for sure. But is there another fight on the card? Like, you're like, oh, I can't wait to see this, or you have a really good feel about who could win?
Honestly, it's the Torres and Dern fight that
love that fight.
Caught my interest. Like, that's another one where I feel like it can really go either way. I don't know if you remember when Mackenzie Dern fought Hannah Cyphers.
I actually don't. I am usually pretty good at that. I don't remember that fight.
It was sometime during the COVID era because I remember Hannah Cyphers took like 5 fights in like a 2-month span or something like that. Like it was back to back to back, and one of them was Mackenzie Dern, and I believe it was either Hannah was looking good on the feet, and I think she might have dropped her or Mackenzie slipped, but like she was definitely like lighting Mackenzie up on the feet, and then went straight into her guard and got finished. And I feel like if Tisha Torres can kind of take that game plan and just don't make that one mistake, it's her fight. Because I don't think that Mackenzie has the wrestling to take Tisha down. I don't feel like she'll be able to get her to the ground. But if Tisha just, like, sometimes you're not there, sometimes you're not thinking, whatever. If she makes that mistake and goes to the ground with her, then, like, I don't think there's a chance for Tisha at that point. But, like, if she can keep it on the feet, I think this is a very winnable fight for Tisha.
100% agree. This has been like one of these fights that I'm super intrigued with because especially the top 3. like literally plus 500s and minus 800s. They're huge, favorites and underdogs and that stuff. And this fight's like literally even. It's right now, Tisha Torres on DraftKings is plus 100, super even. I was out there in Vegas yesterday. I talked about this fight. So then this morning, I actually had an IG live with Elle Wagman. She's now training down there at American Top Team. And so this whole week I've been on Tisha Torres. I just think I love, she's been around forever, right? And kind of it's like almost has like 2 careers. And now she's on this bounce back, 3 wins in a row. She just looks really good, looks really clean on the feet. And I'm like, dude, she's just going to outpoint Mackenzie Dern. Because to me, Dern, like a little bit like Damian Maia, of course, is amazing on the ground, but then has a big power thing. But if Tisha Torres is kind of like this little tiny tornado, there you go, and just kind of like little leg kick, little jab, little leg kick, 1-2, get out, leg kick, and like just like scores a ton of points. We'll never stop her. We'll never finish Mackenzie Dern, at least in my eyes. But like, I think she's going to win 30-27. I had this thought in my head, and I'm like, dude, I like this bet. And then Elle got on and was like, no, like I like Mackenzie Dern a lot in this fight. Like she thinks with how small and how short Tisha is, like she doesn't think that she's going to be able to, pick apart Mackenzie because Mackenzie's going to be so big. So when you come in, Mackenzie's going to grab her, grapple her, be a part of her, or Mackenzie's going to jab her off and have the big strikes to kind of keep, Tisha away from her. I was like, no, some pretty decent points. And, Elle is a 4-0 pro fighter. Like I do listen and I do, take her opinion for sure. And it's like, man, maybe I will switch to Mackenzie. I don't know. I'm like 50-50 now. Like I'm really feeling it. But okay. Yeah. I
feel like Mackenzie, because, well, when she's not, obviously she wants to go to the ground. So she doesn't give a fuck if she gets taken down. She doesn't care if it ends up there. So right. She is kind of reckless with her striking because of that. Because she's like, all right, take me down, whatever. Like, I'll end up on my back. So she can throw everything into her strikes. Where a lot of strikers have to be a little bit more hesitant on their striking because they don't want to get taken down. They don't want to be in that position where they're on their back. But like, because she is so reckless, it's such like an awkward style to deal with. Like people don't know how to deal with it, and it can throw off a very technical striker trying to deal with that kind of like that coming at you. So it's definitely like depends on how Tisha handles that as well. But just how Mackenzie's wrestling has looked in her previous fights, I don't think she has the ability to take Tisha down with like her wrestling. I feel like it would have to be a mistake on Tisha's part where she ended up in the like Tisha dropped her or something and ran into the guard or did something like that. Whereas like she should just be like, get up, like we're fighting on the feet and that's it.
Yeah. Fuck. Guys, that's Gillian the Savage Robertson right there. I'm giving you the inside right there. UFC, sign this lady. Gee whiz, what are you doing? Sign her. Commentary, telling like, dude, that was such a good like take on the fight. Such a good breakdown. Like that's awesome stuff. I don't know. Like, yeah, in that fight, I'm going back and forth. I think I might go back to Tisha now, literally just kind of hearing you. I think Tisha's smart. She's a veteran of the sport, veteran of the game. I think she knows how important this fight is. If she has any kind of championship implications or one more kind of run, kind of what like Carla Esparza did. Like she was there, she was the champ, right? And then she kind of had like a little bit of a down. And now like she had that 3-4 fight win streak back. And like, now she's fighting Rose again, I believe, in a couple months for the title, or actually next month. Yeah, shit. Crazy.
Talking about like fangirl moments, how we were earlier. Tisha was probably like my first person I ever got brought down to ATT to spar. So It was like I was at like a little gym up in Port St. Lucie that was Dean's gym. He had an American Top Team up there. And so I was just like in the little tiny gym. And then one day he called me. He was like, yo, do you want to come down here and work with Tisha Torres? And like she just got out of the Tough House, like newly signed to the UFC. And I had like 2 amateur fights, I think. And I remember just going in there. 2 things about that sparring day. One, I was like so nervous getting ready. And then they're like, come on, you ready? And I ran in the cage and she cracks me once. And then I was like, I don't have my mouth guard in. It wasn't until the first shot that it was like, it hit me hard. That I was like, oh my gosh, like my teeth, like she's going to just like destroy me right now. Jeez. And then also, I just was so bad, so uncoordinated that like I threw a snap kick and I meant to like throw it at her stomach, but I got too close to her face, so it made her angry because it's the first time we met. I shouldn't be throwing a snap kick at your face, you know?
Yeah,
it's like a new sparring partner. I was just very unskilled and accidentally threw it towards her face, and so after she kicked my leg kicked me, dropped me with the leg kick. I stood right back up, and the second I stood up, she kicked it out again.
Fuck.
But like that was like one of the biggest fangirl moments I've had in MMA, where it was like I was a young amateur and this is Tisha Torres standing across the cage for me, like one of the most intense things. And ever since, like she's one of the sweetest people, like one of the nicest people, always willing to help out everybody. But that first day was definitely rough for me.
I was gonna say, have you ever told Tisha that story?
I don't think so.
That's
and
such
like,
a good story.
There's her, and then also Amanda Nunes' girlfriend, or I believe it's wife now, Nina.
Yeah, Nina.
Nina used to beat the shit out of me growing up. There were some days I would go back to my corner with Dean, and he's like, "You're just working on your mentality today. Like, you're just being tough. That's what we're learning," because I could not get anything off on her. And like once I got a little bit older, I was able to get my takedowns, so it made it a little bit more even. But at the beginning, it was just I could not get a takedown, and she would just like I remember she dropped me with so many body kicks, like leg kicks. She's the only girl who has ever like really rocked me.
Wow, really? Jeez, that's crazy. And I think she just lost to someone really good recently, I believe, in the UFC. I can't think of the name right now. Didn't Nina just lose?
I don't remember who she just fought. She's someone who I'm like, I believe she's 10 times better in the gym than when she goes out there and fights. Like, there's nobody who's just, like, she's a monster. Like, no girl hits like that. Like
I hear about that all the time. Mackenzie Dern. She lost to Mackenzie.
Oh, yeah, exactly. The way I was saying with a not technical striker going against a technical striker, she just threw Nina out of her game.
Right. Wow. I might go Mackenzie now. That's it. I'm switching back to Mackenzie Dern.
Switching back.
All right. One last thing. We'll let you go. Hey, next episode, we'll talk about weed the whole time. I don't know. We never got into it. We went 30 minutes.
I got one thing about weed, though. Next week at High Rollers, I'm grappling against Cynthia Cabello. So,
yeah. Defending
my High Rollers belt and gonna get a $1,000 gift card for a dispensary after. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Can you get gummies? Can you please bring gummies back to Florida, please?
Just bring everything back.
Yes, bring everything back. So that's next weekend, by the way?
Next weekend, yeah. The 16th.
The 16th. Dude, if you're, I don't know, we gotta, we'll talk about it more off there, but we got to do something there live. If you like have your different background, you'll be in Vegas. That'd be dope.
And that's what I'm saying. Every week I'll have a different background. I'll be in Vegas next week. I'll be at a different Airbnb the week after. And the weekend after that, I'll be finally in my new house.
There you go.
Every single week we're going to be somewhere different.
Okay. That'd be cool. That'd be real cool. And then, especially if one of the girls, that'd be awesome. They want to do it. We'll have like our first guest on the show. Gee whiz. UFC Fight Pass will love that. Be like, oh, first show, High Rollers.
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome. Maybe like, honestly, Cynthia's cool as anything. Like, we fought before, and then, like, I've worked with her at Extreme Couture. We've hung out at the PI since. So, like, she's dope. Maybe we could get her on it, too.
I love it. All right. That's next week. All right. Last one. It's funny you mentioned Extreme Couture because this is a transition into that. So I get paid the big bucks, Gillian. All right. You ready? Someone as Extreme Couture, someone that we've talked about mostly kind of sometimes off air is King Casey O'Neill. You know, she just beat Roxanne Modafferi. She's like 4-0, I believe now. 4-0 in the UFC. Just got matched up with Jessica Evil Eye. That says it all. I wanted your take so bad. Like, I remember when I first saw it come through and I was like, oh shit, I need to call Gillian, and life happened and I didn't. And then sometimes we do the show and it's like, life happens. I was like, I gotta get Gillian's thoughts on the newly matchup of Casey O'Neill and Jessica Eye.
I'm like, I guess I can't complain because I'm coming off a loss, but I'm like, I want that matchup so bad. I'm like how I won my High Rollers belt was choking out Jessica Eye in like 2 minutes. So right. I'm like, I just know how that fight would be. I don't feel like Jessica is definitely, she's tough as anything, and I feel like that's her biggest threat to girls is she's just extremely tough.
Right.
But I don't feel like technically she's that, like, I don't feel like she'd be able to stop my takedowns. I don't feel like she'd be like a huge threat to me on the feet necessarily. I don't see her being able to TKO. I don't think she has power necessarily to put somebody down like that. But I'm like, I just feel like that's a perfect matchup for me, and I've already saw how it went once, and I would love to see how it would go again. So I guess I'm just salty about it. That's really it. I'm like, Casey deserves it. She's like you said, 4-0 in the UFC on a run right now. She deserves that matchup. But I'm just salty because I want a matchup like that.
So by the way, that is July 2nd, UFC 276. And just throwing it out there, I don't wish anyone bad luck. I really don't. Even Pete, me and you probably dislike some fighters, whatever. I really don't wish anyone bad luck, especially an injury. But just throwing this out there, if Casey does get banged up a little bit or something happens, that spot opens up. That could be Gillian versus Jessica July 2nd at the pay-per-view. Just saying.
I will be 100% ready no matter what. Like, especially I feel like with this new gym, this new environment, we're just constantly working. Like, it's the mixture between, I felt like when I was at ATT, it was almost too much hard work. And then when I went and it was just me and Dean, it was a lot of smart work, but I wasn't getting the hard work that I needed.
Right.
And now we're kind of getting in the mix. We're getting in the middle of it. And I feel like it's gonna, like, I just feel like I'm in the right place now. I feel like I've been saying this for a while, but I think that last fight was just like a little bump and we're on the track.
Yeah. No, it really does make sense. And like how much we always talked about it, like, so you just need bodies. Like you just sometimes need bodies, especially let's just call it a spade. Sometimes you just need other female bodies around the same weight class as you to kind of get feels and see, if this works better, if that works, especially if you're working, just say if you're working on leg kicks for the day. It's like, throwing leg kicks against David Evans, who's, got his body, especially David's body, great body, moves different, moves better, and is maybe quicker than some, a 125 pounder. I don't know. I just think I always thought that in the back of my head, I'm like, I know that ATT wasn't like your place. It wasn't a home. It wasn't your mojo, your vibe. But like, I was like, man, Gillian just needs 2-3 girls. Like she needs some bodies just to, like you said, just to work.
Even for me, I don't necessarily think it's about the girls. I guess like more of my like better live rounds are with the boys I coach at. Like, I feel like it's just that it's having a team that's there to work hard all the time, and it's like we can. It's not like just 2 people. Now I have 20 people that are good, like high level fighters who can work with me. So I feel like it's just the different looks necessarily because. I don't think like a lot of girls think you need to train with other girls, and I don't think that I feel like girls are at this time we're just behind still in the sport. So I feel like you get better and more technical training with boys all the time, and it's like generally they are stronger and faster. So it's like I need to be smarter to work with them. So I prefer to work with, like, I'll drill with girls all day. I feel like drilling, it doesn't matter. As long as you have a body who can work the technique with you, that's all good. But when I'm going live, it's like I feel like the boys are what really matters for me right now. And just being able to get hard rounds. Like today, it's like I drilled for an hour of just striking drilling, just doing technique. Then we sparred for like an hour just like tap sparring, not even hard sparring, just flowing technique. And then another hour of just drilling. So it's like, it's a good mix.
No, that's awesome. Gosh, that's great. I love it. And then I saw David was actually out there, right? Like I saw David, he was at the GOAT.
Yeah. He was out there yesterday. He doesn't really know what he's going to do. He's got a fight, I believe, coming up in May.
LFA.
And he's debating on either if he's going back home or going to be down here for it. So he might be at the Go Shed, might not be. We'll see what happens with that.
Crazy. He lives a crazy life. Like he's like that man's in a different zip code every other weekend for sure.
Oh, I know the feel.
Talking about it. All right. So next week, Mic Cuddles, episode 4, my favorite number, by the way. We got to do it when you're live there in Vegas. So the event is on a Saturday or is it on a Friday night?
It is on a Saturday.
So maybe we can try to, are you flying out there Thursday or Friday?
I'm actually flying out there on Tuesday. I'm going to be at, I'm going to be at the UFC PI all week, and they're just doing like some diagnostic testing, just like looking at my like they had a huge list of things. There's like strength and conditioning, nutrition, just different things, so that I can really optimize my training 100%. I'm just trying to get everything in order. So they're gonna do like a bunch of like physical testing, do like blood tests, things like that, and just make sure that they're gonna let me know what's best for me.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So next week, Mic Cuddles will be half in Daytona Beach and half in Las Vegas. We'll do it. I like it. I like it. I think I had one last thing. Oh, last thing for you. So I just saw also too on your socials, follow Savage_UFC, by the way. I think you got 100,000 now. Is it officially 100,000?
Yes, we're at 100K now.
Gee whiz, Mrs. Famous right here, 100,000 on IG.
Yeah.
So, so I saw you did like modeling shit around at the beach. Those pictures looked awesome, looked dynamite.
Oh yeah, there's a girl that is actually I'm gonna make like an appearance at a nightclub this Saturday to go watch the fights at Solid Gold. And last time I did an appearance with them, it's the owner's wife. She stole me in the middle. She's like, "No, come back. We need to take pictures." Nice. So then again, she hit me up, asked me if I wanted to do some pictures with her, and she's just absolutely amazing behind the camera. So she worked her magic, and yeah, I got some pretty cool shots out of it.
You did. I thought they looked awesome. And then like the 2% selfish part of me was like, oh, wait a second. Like I need to travel to the GOAT one day when they're not training, and then get the awesome photographer, and then we can do pictures and we can have some Mic Cuddle pictures.
That we're obviously behind on the game right now if we don't have those.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, every picture that Gillian and I have together, we're at like an event. We're at like a UFC event, or we're commentating. I was like, dude, we don't have any like Mic Cuddle pictures.
We can just screenshot the picture of me choking you last time we rolled.
You're breaking in and out. I can't hear you. Oh gosh, man, that sucked. Dude, my throat seriously hurt for like 3 weeks. Like, people don't understand. Like, I don't know how you guys do it. Bunch of savages. All right, episode is done. It was very good. We went like, that was our longest one. It felt like it was nothing. We're getting pretty good at this. By like episode 25, we're going to be amazing. Like, this will be locked down for sure.
Oh yeah. We're going to be professionals.
All right, so we got Mic Cuddle pictures coming in the works. We have an intro. The guy literally emailed me yesterday. We'll have an intro probably within the next week or so at the latest. High Rollers next weekend. We'll talk with Gillian in Las Vegas, which is dope. And then UFC 273 weekend. Last call, last prediction right now. You have Mackenzie Dern or Tisha Torres right now. Who do you got?
I'm going Tisha.
Oh, fuck. I was going to say Mackenzie Dern. I'm going Mackenzie Dern.
All right. We got to put a bet on it then. This way. Like, which way?
We'll make a bet. And maybe we'll do something funny. Like, we'll do something through social media funny.
All right, we'll think of something.
All right, sounds good. G, you're the best. We'll talk to you soon. That's Mic Cuddles episode 3. Done.